be streaming. I'm gonna put some music and I'm gonna continue from where I left off yesterday. I did some modifications, but I didn't got to work. I was running this with the count to 10 and it was taking a long time, so I just decreased the count to see what will happen. And I'm getting this error here that says that I don't have the graph after it finishes executing. So I'm running this between the limits here of the set trace. And then I learned that I can't return here because it's like the code is going through this function. So if I return, it breaks the function, I think. But maybe it's something else because I was getting the same error when I was returning there. So I think it's something with the graph here that I can't add the nodes through inside of this function here. I have to add them later. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is to just add this stuff to a list and then from the list add the nodes to the graph. And I was asking, I want to see if I can find another library as well, besides NetworkX, that allows me to do maybe other stuff, maybe like do some visualizations directly on the browser, maybe using a WebSocket connection or something like that. Because that would be better if I could update the graph in real time and see like the changes that are happening as the script is running. That would be really cool. But I imagine it's extremely difficult to do, so not sure if I'm gonna be able to do it. Or if I'm gonna spend time doing it. But I think it's easier to build something with NetworkX first, and then I'll think about this later. I'm gonna put 1 hour and a half, I think. The timer. And I just finished the poker stuff, the function for the poker. Finished building the heuristics, which I'm not 100% sure. I thought about it a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure if I thought about all possible scenarios. Because it gets really confusing with the auto position. And also I realized that there are some instances where the child node is going to be the same position as the parent node. And that's when you have a donk. Because when you have a donk, the last player that acted on the previous street was out of position. And then it is the first player to act again because it's donking. So the donk is going to happen when the out of position player calls in the previous street. And then they bet right away. So that's one edge case where the ranges are the same, and then I didn't look too much into it. I think it's correct based on the way that I looked at it, but you might have an issue because the way that I'm updating the ranges. But I think it doesn't matter because I'm passing like the ranges here as an argument, so it's gonna take the range that was cached either way. So it doesn't matter that it doesn't wait for one cycle, let's say, to get the cached range, because it's always getting the last cached range and then updates the cached range after it calculates the new range. So I think it doesn't matter that it is different, the order of players. And the other thing that I realized is that I'm not using the current turn on the main function. So I removed from that, and I think I don't need it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But I think I don't need it because the way that I'm integrating the turn now is just through the node ID. So the version of the tree that I'm building here is slightly different than Pio, because Pio adds the turn as a node, and I'm just adding the turn as in the node ID, but I'm making the node ID be the bats, the node be the bats, and the node contains the node ID that contains the turn, but there isn't a node that is specific for the turn. But it might be not optimal to do it this way, because then I'm creating the same, like I'm creating more, but actually it's kind of the same thing, because the only difference is the level. Because the way Pio does it is it creates a turn and then creates all possible actions as children of the turn. And the way that I'm doing, I'm creating several different nodes that have the same turn. But the number of nodes are going to be the same, because the only thing that changes is the level that they are at. So I think it doesn't matter that much for what I'm trying to do. As long as I have the turn in the node ID, I think it's fine. And now the main concern that I have, and I think the reason why it might be wrong, is because of the whole traceback thing, not traceback, backtrack thing, where it reaches the base case and then goes back and then continues execution after it goes back. And the reason why I think that the way that I did here is wrong is because I'm reinitializing the values after it reaches the base case. And I think once it does that, it messes up the lines for the parts that were backtracked. So it's gonna reach the base case and then it's gonna go back with that return statements to the previous calls where it stopped the recursion. So every time it calls itself recursively, it's gonna create a branch of a tree. And then it's gonna go until it reaches the base case, and then once it reaches the base case, it's gonna use the return statements for the other calls, and then it's gonna continue on the other part of the branch at the point that it stopped in the recursive call. And once that happens, I reinitialize the values. So on the other part of the branch, the lines are gonna be messed up because the previous bats are not the same. And the way that I'm thinking about solving this, if that's a problem, is just by changing the way that I'm reinitializing or by figuring out new ways to set boundaries. But in order for me to do that, I'm gonna have to understand really well at what moment the branches happen, which I think is at the moment you call the function recursively. So at that point, I need to have a way to create a heuristic or something that allows me to maintain the line from that point so that I can use the same line on the other side of the branch. And then only after all the branches have been exhausted from that point, then I reinitialize the values, or I don't even reinitialize them at all. I just keep the same thing from the start to the end and just figure out where to place the boundaries so that every line is in the correct format. And that's very hard to do, and that's the reason why when I study this recursion thing here. So I think what I can try to do is implement some lists here and then append this stuff to the list. So I think I can create, maybe I'll create some lists, and then I think also I'm gonna delete this stuff because I have it on the other file. Maybe just leave this one. But I'll implement this as a tuple for each one, so append as a tuple. And then I zip over the tuple and I add the nodes as labels. I'll do this one. I'm gonna copy this format. I'm gonna comment that out and then I'm gonna use that. Actually, it doesn't matter, just when it gets time to append, then I'll see how I'm gonna do it. The issue is these ones, but I guess I can just loop and then append as well. So there's the value and the name of the local variables. Local name list, local value list. Let's leave it like this. I don't want this shape to be a box as well, so I'm just gonna delete this. But what I'm gonna do here is, instead of doing the thing here, I will add each one. I think I just append the name on this one. Oh, I guess I can append this thing here. It's better to put this way as well. So is adding the edge. Yeah, so actually I just need one here. And then from the name I have the other ones. But the thing is, I need the value for this thing here. It's better to have a dictionary and just translate there to the dictionary. But the problem is if there's two that are the same. I guess I can just use one list, local value list. And then I'll append it as a tuple like this. Because the other one, I already have the current frame, so. And then I'm just gonna move this to the end there, where I'm gonna loop through the list. And then I create the graph that way and see if it works.
Life is all about you, and not at all about you. Now that's too.
And then I'm gonna pass the graph from here to here.
Everything you choose to do, while observing the experience you're having from a higher view. See, it's the question, not the answer.
Then I'll add the stuff here.
Otherwise, you couldn't differentiate between the two. Awareness, but of who?
And then the globe is gonna be the same. Let's delete this stuff.
They say we're all one, but where have we been heading to? I'd rather die free than have to live inside a petting zoo. I am the journey that I'm getting to.
Oh, and here I'm doing the other way around. That should be name. Name. And the confusing part is gonna be, should know how to loop through them, because I need to loop through both of them at the same time. Maybe I can just use the index, I think. So key enumerate, and then I use the index for the current frame. Maybe. But the problem is that each current frame has multiple different things here. So maybe it's better to create a dictionary outside. And then the dictionary is the values. I think I'm gonna do that. Oh, but the frame has...
But mine is not enough for me, because I am not my mind. I can see it all, but never get to see I'm truly blind.
The frame has this information as well.
But all identity is intertwined. The moon is is only bright as it reflects the sun's shine.
So how am I gonna do this? I was thinking about creating a dictionary where this is the key and then I append the values of each one. Or a nested dictionary. Or this is the key and then the values are another dictionary that contains the key and value for each one. Alright, locals, and then locals is a list that has this stuff here. Let me see if there's another way. Because I need to extract these two pieces of information here as well. The problem is that each current frame has can have multiple different values, so that's why I don't think I can use a list for all of them. Because I need to know when I'm looping at the end how to connect them. That's why dictionary is better, I think.
It's not the human race. It's just the human race. There's nothing left to chase. We do not run this place.
But then I need a way to put both of these things here in the dictionary.
Started taking selfies of somebody else's face.
Maybe create current frame ID and current frame ID as a key, and then the value is the function name, which is a dictionary. And the value is a dictionary that has this as the key, and this stuff here gets appended to the list, which is the value of this key here. No, but then it would have to be another dictionary to put these two different lists here. That's very complicated. I guess I would just consider the label, just get the names. It's easier. And the thing is that I don't know what is gonna return here. Like what is gonna be the value in the name. So it's hard to know what is the best thing to put there. I think I just create the dictionary, then I'll think about it later. And that's the issue. Because it has to be a dictionary as well. That's why it's annoying. Because this are gonna have the key, which is locals, and then locals I have the values. So this is a dictionary. I'm trying to think if there's a better way. Where I could just structure everything so it's easier in the end to create the thing, the graph. If I make locals and then I just... Or maybe I can just make equal to frame f locals. No, but then I need the globals as well. Because if I make locals and then I make it equal to a frame f locals, then it becomes a nested dictionary with multiple different levels. So I'm not really sure if it's better to have a list in the end or a dictionary. So I can make this equal to locals here. Like locals, I can make either a list or a dictionary here. So if it's a list, I can loop over in the end, I think. Loop over this key and items, then do a nested loop, and then create the connection based on the list. And then here I would loop over and append this stuff here as tuples, and then I can do a zip in the end, I think, to extract the information, creates the nodes and the edges. But it might be better to make this equal to the dictionary here. And it's a dictionary of names and values. I think I'll do it like this, the way that it is here. And then I'll just append I hate when it does that. So I just append here like this, and do the same here. Oh, global. Maybe just do like this. Yeah, so now current frames is a dictionary that has the ID as value. So I would loop here. The ID is the key and the frame is the value. Frame global is a dictionary. Frame local and frame global. Yeah, each one has a list. So for each ID there's gonna be a list of global, which is the tuple here. So it will be our name, value, being zip, prints, name, value. And then I'll do the same for global. So for each one, and then I can create the logic here to create the graph, I think, if it works. Problem is that I'm not sure, so I think it's better to print so I understand what I'm getting out of the function, if I'm getting anything. At least I think I'm getting the stuff from the function, so that's a good sign. And so local is the list of... Oh, so that's what I'm doing wrong here. So I need to loop over first and then I loop again. No, I loop and then I get the zip from the loop. Because this thing is the tuple. I don't need to get the zip, I just get the index. Got 0 and 1 here. Oh, but then the problem... No, there's always gonna be true because... so I make the name equals to the local. Which one is 0? 0 is the name, and 1 is the value. Oh, it's because I'm zipping here. Interesting. No, it's working, but I'm not really sure. Oh yes, it's because the way that it is there. The way that I'm appending is the representation. So it's the function name and then the representation, I think. Is the way that, so I can manipulate that in the end, but now let me think about the logic for adding the stuff. I think it's gonna work now. I just have to understand like the sequence that I'm adding here, and how that's, but I think it doesn't matter because it's the same index, so when I add it's gonna be the same in the graph. Yeah, so here is because of the way that I'm adding here. And then I have to think about what kind of stuff I want to get as well. And maybe I change this thing here. But first let me construct the graph, then the other stuff is just going to be the data from the graph. And the way to format the data so I can get the most out of it. But I want to build something that gives me the visualization first, so I can see that it works. And then I think about changing. So now let me think about how I'm gonna add the edges. I think I'm just gonna copy this stuff here. And then I'll think about it. So I think it's just as simple as doing this here. I'll do the same thing. Just local name. I don't know why he's doing this weird stuff. Resetting a line when I copy there. It's kind of annoying. And then here is going to be, maybe I should do frame ID so it's easier to understand. Oh, the thing is, I'm already getting the representation here. So I think it's just gonna be the label is gonna be the value, not gonna be the string. No, let me see. So I'm adding the node, the edge. Am I adding? Yeah, here I was adding the node as well. First. And then it's gonna be the same thing, I think. Oh, this one also. No, I think it is correct. So now we just add here this other stuff. So frame ID is the key. Oh, I'm not getting the function name. That's the only thing. So how can I incorporate the function name? I could just create another key here. Yeah. There we go. Well, let me think about what I'm doing. So the ID is the key, and the frame is the dictionary, and the dictionary contains the values. So it's frame, func name. Oh, but it's not gonna be, so I can just make func name here. And then here's frame ID. I don't know why it's creating a new line every time I copy and paste. Very annoying. Yeah, but now I think it should work. And then it's creating the edge between the frame ID and the new node here. So the local name frame ID. So add the node of the frame ID first, then create the edge from the frame ID to the local variables and global variables. And then the frame has the function name. So let's see if this works now. Oh, I forgot to delete this. And it's still not creating the thing. It's probably because I don't have the file, the folder. And now I don't understand is Because the graph is not working, but I don't understand why. I think. 'Cause I shouldn't need the name of the file, just save. I think on the... I don't remember really well how it works. But I think when you create the graph, it creates something like this. Yeah, solve.html. Oh, maybe it's because I need to install NetworkX. Because I think PyVis gets the path from NetworkX from the template folder. Maybe that's the problem. And don't think that's a problem. I guess it uses this template to, because the template is a Jinja file, and then it uses the template to create a graph, the page, the HTML page, by replacing the values in the Jinja for the nodes. The problem is that it doesn't have the graph, I think. Can do this method here to see. It might be the path here, it might be that I don't have because I should have the graph here. Yeah, I think the graphics is... It's probably the path. Maybe I do need to have the file name first. But I remember that I didn't need the file name. So maybe I need to save graph first. Yeah, I would be getting this error, I think. Maybe it's that because I don't have Jinja on the thing. Or maybe you should install Jinja as I install NetworkX. Let me run again to see where I'm getting the... There. It should be this one here. Environments. Which is probably a Jinja thing. Yeah, so maybe it's because I don't have Jinja. So Jinja doesn't find the template. So clearly here the problem is that it's not creating the template because it doesn't find. But I don't understand because I didn't make any modifications on the library. But I think I remember vaguely maybe something like this, but I don't remember really well if the reason why I looked into this was because I wanted to modify the library to do some other stuff. Because I copied the code from the CDN of the files and then I hard code them on another file, so I could eventually potentially change the way that the graph works by changing the way that the template works. So I don't remember if there was a problem with the library itself. But it's weird because it should be working here, I think. Like, it's not a problem on my code, I think. It's a problem on the library itself, which is weird. Because it seems like the Jinja doesn't create the template for whatever reason, unless I'm missing something. And I think it's because it doesn't find the template, the folder of the template. A self-generates notebook. This problem is here, and then on the name index HTML. Maybe it's the path that I'm passing. Could be that. Let me create the file and then see if it's gonna work if I create the file. But it is weird because I remember not having to create the file name and it would create automatically. But maybe it's because I don't remember really well. But I don't think that's the problem. Yeah. Because in this function, let's see if I uncomment this. Because the problem is here. It doesn't have the template here, so I guess it goes to this file and then this part doesn't get the template. And self.path is the template path from the PyVis library, I think. So I guess it's reaching this point here. Bar 64. And the path is this thing here. And the environment gets the templates from the thing. It creates these environments. There's a problem with these paths, I think. So it seemed like it was before it was opening the file like this and then passing the content here to this get template thing. It passes the path, that's the name. And it's not passing the parent, so it hits this point. And it checks to see if it's an instance of the template class, which is a Ginger environment thing. And then returns this function here. So is either a problem here? I think I'll try to pass the contents there. Because I don't have the notebook, so it's probably hitting this condition here. To create a template using Ginger True, but then it says that templates is none, so it's a problem here, I think. But it's very weird because, or I'm doing something with the path, it's possible as well. The problem is how can I stop printing the other stuff? I guess I can just print here, like this. But I think it's not showing anything there before it reaches this condition. What caused this generate thing? And passes the name, so it might be the name of the file. Let me try just passing the name of the file. It doesn't work as well. So the name is the name of the file. And gets the CDNs and opens the file and writes. So maybe the problem can be here as well when he's writing the thing. So it's not here because I'm not getting these errors, I think. So yeah, actually that should be here because it happens before. So fuck. So the name. So here it doesn't pass any name here. So this is gonna be the index.html. Which is weird. Like, why is not passing any name there? It's always gonna use the default here. And then it doesn't reach this endpoint. It goes directly here, which doesn't make sense as well. Because the notebook should be false. Which means this should be true. So I don't understand why it's not hitting this point here. But let's see. The name is also not used here, so it's probably not a problem with the name. Maybe it is reaching, but it's reaching here. Yeah, it's probably reaching here and then failing before. The thing is, because it's printing the other stuff from this file, I'm not really sure if, because here it should have this part here, so I don't think it's from this file. Because the code is breaking on the template render here, which in my mind makes sense that you would go through this thing here, because the notebook is false. But maybe I'm missing something. Oh, there we go. So the name is index HTML, but why is it not going through the notebook? I don't understand. First I'm gonna print this, and then I'm gonna print the condition to see if it's true. Oh, it's true. Notebook is true. But why? Because I don't have... Oh, it's here. Just passing as true, so I need to pass as false. There we go. Oh. So just the default is to have the notebook. Yeah, but this is trash, so I have to change the... I think I was using 75% here. But then at the height, I'm not really sure why it is that way. Because it should be bigger. Maybe... It's probably because of the style of the body. I don't remember really well. I think I can go to the graph that I was using before. On the... Yeah, so I need to remember I need to pass as false here. If I don't change the thing. So I think I'm gonna open the other project to remember how I did the graph there. Because it's weird that the height's not the correct way. Shit, man. Directed is really slow, so I usually do undirected. Yeah, but the height 100% should be working. I don't understand what's... Maybe it's because I have the thing here. Oh, but it's the other one anyway, so... Yeah, let me try to change the name now. Graphs. Is it gonna work? The fuck? I don't get why this is not working. It's terrible. And the width is 100% as well. So what I can do here is check to see the name of the attributes, because it's gonna be a Jinja thing. Yeah, height 100%. Maybe I'll try to remove the interactions, but it shouldn't. It should work with the interactions. There should be a bigger graph here. So maybe it's something else that I'm missing. And also don't understand why I have to change the defaults. It's the fucking Microsoft, man. Making the thing my default. It's probably because I'm using VS Code, so they make automatically the Microsoft Edge to be the default browser. I guess I can change the source code as well, the library. Maybe it's because of the canvas, but it hides 100%. Yeah, I don't understand why this is not working. Like, it should be bigger here. It's probably because of this div here. Div cards. Where is this motherfucker? And the thing is, I have to see on the template itself. I don't understand why he did this thing here as well. Whatever. So I need to go here on the template because he's using this template here to create a graph, which is the Jinja 2 template. And then I can see the variables and then I can change the variables, I think. So I need to change the size of that div, I think. Yeah, so this should be style 100%. I don't remember changing this though, not style height, on the last time. Now it doesn't work here. Also maybe it's like this. Yeah, there we go. So maybe now it works. Let me see here. It still doesn't work. The body is 100%. This is supposed to be 100%, but it isn't. So what else can it be? So it's not working because of this invalid property value. Oh, it's because I'm putting on the with the comma here. That's why. And the other one should work. Oh, there we go. Nice. But the graph is really weird as well. So I need to put 75 here as well. Oh, it's weird as well. So this is the size of the canvas, I think. But I guess should change the graphic and just change the physics there. But oh, maybe it's because I have this thing open. I remember 75% should put this thing on the side here. It's just because of the names, so the node is really weird. Because there's an enormous name there. Don't remember how it works on this as well. And I'm gonna have to change the stuff that is showing up here because it's just making... Like, this is the stuff that I mean that is kind of difficult to figure out. So it's both the label that I have to change. I think I only want to show the variables and the stacks. But here is showing like this because it's going on loops with the recursion, but I don't want to show in this way. I want to show in the tree format. But here it has the values. So the variables I think that are fine, maybe. So let's try to understand this. So the red is the global variables. I guess I can just look at the thing, but I think the red is global. Plus yellow and then red. So it's easier to know which one is which. And then I need to think about a way to put the information so that it shows me the only this stack, like the executions of the functions. I think that the only way would be to create only the nodes and the edges based on the connection of the stack frames, and then inside of the stacks put the labels as the inside of the stack puts the information for the global and local variables as the label of the connection. So instead of making connections like this, make connections between the frames and the frame ID. So I can loop through this and then create the... I think I'm going to encapsulate this into a function, and then I'm going to create other functions as well. And then I can try several different styles of visualization depending on the function. Yeah, so yellow, red, green. So global is going to be green. The main one is red, the other one is yellow. And maybe I will change the size there so that it fits the other stuff on this side because it's better. I think here you can change here. Let's do 55. Maybe I'll change the source code as well so it doesn't open in Microsoft Edge. It's weird that this thing is not moving here. So maybe I can change the other parts of this in the config div. Because the width here is 100% and this is in the bottom. And maybe it didn't work last time because I had the wrong thing. I don't know if they changed this because I remember that it worked in the past. So maybe someone changed the library and now it doesn't work. Maybe I can make a pull request and tell them to change. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that. Yeah, but here is not changing. Because the issue, if I do like this, then it becomes weird here. Because I think the config is supposed to be inside of this div here. So let me try to put 100% here. Maybe now it will work. Now how can I change the... I can make... See if this works. Yeah, there we go. So I wonder if I should do... The problem is making the pull request, I'm gonna have to change the library itself, then I'm gonna have to think about the Jinja template. Not sure if I wanna do that. Maybe someone that is watching this can... I don't know. I think it's this one. So it's clearly not in the format, and I also have to think, it's because of this stuff here, I'm probably doing something wrong with this node. Or maybe it is like this. Maybe this is all the stuff that was called. Yeah, I think I'm doing something wrong with this name here. So in this part, I think this node is the one that is weird because it should have the break line there, I think. Or I'm adding them in the wrong format. And so let me see the color of the node. This one is the red one, so this is the one that is wrong. So let me think. Maybe just because the... Let me remove the label and see what happens. I'm gonna put it as a comment here. Well, not sure if I'm changing it as well. I think I have to change the template. Yeah, because now it's the same thing here. Because I'm overriding the stuff. So I need to put this the way that it is here on the templates from the library. So the style is obviously here, but I'm trying to see where's the config. Let's see if it works now. I think it's working. Yeah, there we go. But the problem with the thing is the frame ID that is just massive. Because the frame ID has everything. Just this thing here. The thing is, you should be creating a different frame ID for each thing here. But maybe it's because I'm creating the graph multiple times for the same thing. I'm not really sure. Oh, the timer went... Oh, I think I didn't put the timer because it was been 1 hour and 18 minutes. I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna solve this stuff off stream, but now I think I'm going to continue to do this tomorrow as well, probably. So what I'm gonna do is encapsulate this into a function, and then I'm gonna test different formats of both the information that I can get inside of this function here, just getting the stack trace, and both in the way that I'm adding the connections. And the goal is to make this graph here in a way that is gonna show me the tree with the calls from the function. And also, I think I want to try to figure out if there's another library that allows me to use WebSockets or something like that, so I can see, like, I can create something that as the script executes, it creates the graph. That would be really awesome, I think. Because that way would be much better to understand what's going on as the function. Like, if you could step through, like you do in debugging, when you click on the debug and you can step through the code. If you can do that and visualize here on the graph as the execution goes, I think that would be awesome. And then with that, I can understand, like, the goal is to understand what's happening with the global variables and the local variables as the function goes. So I can understand how the information changes as the recursion happens, to know how to structure things on the other function, so that I create the poker tree in the way that I'm imagining. So that's what I'm trying to clarify here. So what I need to do is figure out how exactly to just get the local variable names and the global variable names, and then associate that with the stack, and then connect each stack as it goes, and then see, like, the difference in the variables as the stacks go. So I think that it would make more sense if this was a tree instead of this thing here, which means I'm probably making something. I don't think it's wrong, but there's probably a better way to visualize this, I think. Like a better way to make it so that this, at the end, this is a tree connecting the calls. And maybe I can put a counter here instead of putting the name of the function, DFS. Well, I think I am getting the correct ones. It's just that the first one is probably this massive one here. So maybe if I create directed as well, because this is a not big graph, maybe that will help to understand. And then also I think I can put a different thing here. You can put counts equals 0. Then I put a different counter. Oh, I should have done the other way around, so then. Then I change the color here. What can be this color? Blue. Oh, it's because I don't have the thing. Frame ID. Let's see if this works. No, it doesn't work. I'll figure this out upstream. Yeah, but the goal is to create the tree structure with the recursive calls and then put the information of the local global variables inside of each node. So the links are going to be the links between the calls, and the information inside of the nodes is going to be what's happening with the global and local variables at each step. And I imagine that the way that it should be, it's a tree structure, because that's the way that recursion works instead of the loop. So that's I'm gonna have to think about how to structure the information that I get here inside of the set trace, so that it displays only the first call, or it doesn't so it displays the arrows as a directed graph, and only when it goes in the first time and not when it goes back, because then it's going to create a loop, I think, and it becomes harder to visualize. But I'll probably continue to do this tomorrow. So yeah, or maybe I'll come back later today, but probably not, probably tomorrow. So